Good evening. It's Friday. It's 8 p.m. and that means only one thing. It's Barbers Arms. Episode 41 in association with the British Barbers Association and Wahl UK. Great show coming up tonight. Me and Gaz are going to take you through this week's news desk and some points that we're going to raise, what's been happening in the industry this week. 8:15, this is going to be a beauty tonight. We've got Mark Woolley, the CEO of Electric Salons and the Electric product range. Can't wait to interview Mark tonight. Coming up then, we've got Gaz's Cocktails, something hopefully to warm us all up on this cold February on a Valentine's weekend. And then we've got one of our local heroes. We're going over to Northern Ireland, to Belfast, top of the morning to you. And we're going to interview Sam Arthur from Belfast. That's going to be round about 8:50. And then me and Gaz will take you through to closing time here on Barbers Arms, episode 41. Without further ado, please welcome Mr. Gary Machin.
Well, thank you very much, my co-host, Mr. Simon Shaw of Wahl. Well, what a great week.
We should have a big cheer there when we introduce you in, like a big roar.
Drum roll. Yeah, as I fall off my stool.
Drum roll, yeah.
Had a great week, mate. What are you drinking tonight? I'm just getting cracked. My first one of the day. I've been saving it. I've been wanting crack since about 3 o'clock. But good health to you, mate. All the very best.
Cheers, pal. I'm just trying to a Belgian mineral water, some Stella Artois. It's funny, Trevor just said before we come on, I should have a vest on saying Stella Artois on. In Barnsley, we call that dozy told juice.
Dozy?
Do as you are told juice.
Oh, do as you told juice. Oh, I like that one, yeah. Do as you told juice. It has that effect on people up there, does it?
Well, yeah, and I've always been one of these. I like a nice lager, but I can't drink the weaker stuff. I'd rather have 3 or 4 of them and then finito, benito. But I'm sure our colleagues over in China and in Malaysia and everybody out there, happy new Lunar OX, happy new year to you guys out there. It's the Chinese New Year, so a happy new year to all our followers out in China. And I've had a few messages off the guys that are on a little bit of an holiday. So, like, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe it would have been there like New Year's Eve, and they were really busy in the shops. And that we were speaking in early week, guys. I think over the next couple of weeks, guys, we're going to get some people coming in that are actually open. And instead of dropping into their bars, depends on what time we can get them on, but hopefully we can interview them from their shops. And you can see some real-life barbering and hairdressing going off behind in the backdrop. So hopefully we can fetch you that, just to give you a little bit of a reminder what it used to be like and hopefully what it's going to be like for you guys in future. Guys, you had a good week?
Yeah, not bad. As I said last week, I've discovered Clubhouse, and because the people I want to follow or the people I've been looking at, they're all up in the middle of the night. I mean, I think it was about 4 o'clock I went to bed last night. I couldn't put it down and ended up speaking on one of them. I tell you who was on. Do you know, we had the young man on who runs Barber Connect, Lee. We had him on. He was speaking. He was running a conversation, and Kenny Duncan and Nuri and a few others. Trevor was on there. It was nice to talk to people who, as you've just said, are back to work. I mean, a lot of the guys. I was talking to Anthony Edge. He's in California, who've had it really bad. They're a similar state to us. They've been closed down I think probably the longest in the US. And it was good to. He's just done his first one-to-one class this week. People back into the academy, so that's good news. And I think we need a bit of news like that as well, just to realise that not everybody's in the same boat. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and we need to speak to working barbers, which was great. I'm not saying that they're travelling like they used to be. I was talking to Kenny last night and Lee, and they were they're really keen on getting the shows back up and running, because that's their main business and education. But I think it isn't going to be as quick as we almost think, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. So it was nice to speak to somebody who was back working, back behind the chair. So
I had a global education meeting on Wednesday. It did one of two things for me. One, it was great to see everybody. You know, we had some South Americans on there. We had some European guys. We had the Americans on there. It was good to see everybody. But in the same respect, it made me like miss everybody even more. And some of the shows that's coming up that we would normally attend, you know, we're not going to be able to do that at the moment. But I do think there's a bit of light there at the tunnel with vaccinations. And it's funny, I got a message about an hour before I came on from somebody in Scotland. And I'm not mentioning any names, but he said to me, when are you booked in for your jab? Because one of my mates who's 48 just had notification that he can have a jab. So, it's funny. I'd prefer to be in a real low down category where I'm one of the last to get vaccinated. But obviously, you know, I'll be a couple of weeks after you, but it's still early doors for us golden.
Oh, no. I thought they were doing the over 55s now. I thought you'd had your letter by now.
So, listen, if it got me back to work quicker and I could travel quicker. But look, realistically, and this is something that I'd want to pass on to everybody. You know, 23rd of March last year, the week before that, I did kind of my last week where with me and Rick Roberts and Sam Campagna did a photo shoot. And I've had to really condition my mind all the way through this. When you went back on 4th of July, then you went back after Christmas. Some of you had a bit of normality, but it's not been the same for me. But I've always managed my own expectations on when we can get back. And I think that's really helped me to condition my mind, make the best of what I've got, make the best of Zoom, make the best of Barbers Arms, make the best of some virtual training that we've done. And I tell you what, guys, I've got kind of used to it. I did a seminar on Tuesday. There were 55 people on it. We've got a seminar on Tuesday, which is for Salons Direct on their Instagram channel. So if you're about, guys, on Tuesday at 1 o'clock, I'm going to be doing an hour up close and personal with Simon Shaw, Clipper Clinic, a few techers to go there and just chat to all the customers at Salons Direct. And, you know, that's something that we're doing over the next month or so. And we're connecting with a lot of barbershops as well. We're doing like some pep talks to barbershops as well. So if you're lucky enough, you'll be able to look on the Wahl websites and enter into those little draws for who's going to get like a staff room chat with me. We're going to do Andy's barbershop, who's the barber shop of the year. We're going to do Andy on Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to seeing Andy Willis and his team down there for a chat about the industry and things like that. Be a little bit taking Barbers Arms as well into the salons and hopefully sharing a bit of light and hopefully keep people motivated. I'm going to tell you one thing. You know, I've always been on about retail. And you're very honest. I mean, you've gone about Dan Ricks and Rob Ricks, how good they are at retailing and stuff. But for any barbershops out there and hairdressing salons, and I know hairdressers sometimes can be perceived a little bit better than barbershops. So it's Valentine's weekend, yeah? They had security today at Marks and Spencer's around the meal deal for Valentine's. No word of a lie. It was packed in there. So, yeah, I'm not really good at ordering stuff online and it's a bit late. So, actually, by the way, I've got your Valentine's present here for you. So, I've got a nice chocolate rose for you. I don't know if you can see that. I'll enjoy that later for you. And
then.
Yeah, well, you can't eat that. It's probably going to go in your cocktail, you weirdo. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to get to the point quickly here. So, would I normally go to Marks and Spencer's and potentially buy a Valentine's present? Probably not, but the shelves were empty. What's my point? What am I getting to? So why would you not, and I've gone on about this for years, why would you not as barbers, in particularly barbers, stock products that when you guys are in, instead of going elsewhere, I bought the gift bags, the flowers, the gin, all the little gifts from Marks and Spencer's today, all in one stock. So if I'm coming from a beard trimming today and it's Valentine's week, why would I not buy, you know, some products from you? Why would I not buy probably a pair of straighteners or an hairdryer? So, guys, when you get back, you have to look at your business and potentially for retail. You know, we've got used to now going into one shop and there's no reason, just because you cut hair, there's no reason why you cannot have a massive retail area and start trading lots of different stuff from your retail area that people potentially can get under one roof. You know, I'm not saying start selling like alcohol or start selling keys and chains and padlocks and stuff like that, but certainly what's relevant to your business that you probably wouldn't have done normally. I think this is the time where you've got to look at it and think, if guys are coming in 50, 60, 100 guys a week coming in, then, you know, it's something that you should be doing. Do you know what?
I think that leads on very well to our first guest, but he's just parking his car before he actually comes in. So we're about 5 minutes away from having the tremendously talented Mark Woolley. I think that's something I'll touch on with him tonight as well, because he's really into his retail. I don't know if anybody follows Mark on his Insta and everything, but no, obviously because of where we are career-wise at the moment, and he's got his own brand, his electric brand. It's just been absolutely just pushed and pushed and pushed, running up to Valentine's Day, which it makes sense. He's a retailer as well. I think you've got to be a destination now from a point of view of a shop or your barber shop or your hairdressers, whatever you are, unisex. You've got to make it a destination for people to come in and shop, as well as to have a service as well. And I've travelled a lot around the world, and there's some people who are very, very good at it, and some people that don't even bother at all. And I think that's something as barbers we can learn from hairdressers. As you said, I don't think we're the best at retailing, but we are trying. There's a number of us who are trying that now, and it's an untapped market. So, yeah. We've also got another great guest on, which is Sam Arthur, which, I love this guy because of his scooters and his passion for them. And we've also got our cocktail, which is homage tonight to Year of the Ox for all our Chinese. We've got a Chinese whisper tonight for our cocktail. So I'm looking forward to that as well. That'll be a nice one for you. You like that? You quite like vodka,
growing up, when I started going out drinking when we were about 12, there was a nightclub in Barnsley called Japanese Whispers, and I always remember when somebody says Whispers, we used to call it Whispers. So it's a really good place. But everybody who's watching from Yorkshire, especially from Barnsley, any pals that's watching tonight, you all remember Japanese Whispers. I used to play that game, which was one at a time, please order a queue. I had long hair then, and it was the business. Before we get our guests on tonight, I just want to say, guys, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, which is Simon Shaw Wahl. Gaz's Instagram is The British Barber. And then if you want to go on to Barbers_arms, them our Instagram accounts. And then on the website to download the podcast or to watch any of the previous 40 episodes. Creeping up to that 6 million now, so that's absolutely unbelievable. Love it. Proud to be associated with it. Love co-hosting it, but 6 million views we're climbing up to, which is unbelievable. So the website is thebarbersarms.co.uk. And then if you want to email us, you can email us at barbersarms@thebritishbarber. And also a new addition, as Gazza just said, is Barbers Arms Clubhouse as well, where you can join us for some of the up-to-date chats on there. Coming on to that, this is really important announcement. I'm going to say it a couple of times through the show. Next week, we're going to change our tact a little bit. So next week, there's been a lot of press and a lot of bad press about different barbers and things cutting hair. And I know a lot of you have been saying, how come footballers have had their hairs cut? So next week, we've got Tom Baxter to come and tell us his side of the story. Tom was the barber who, Joe Linton, the Newcastle footballer, who took a photograph of himself having a haircut. And I know, Tom's had quite a lot of stick about this. He's going to come on next week, share his views of, what his thoughts were on the whole process and have his say about that. And then you guys are obviously, throughout the week, if you want any questions asking to Tom, or if you want to jump on next Friday when we interview Tom, this is going to be a new addition to Barbers Arms where I think it's very current. And if there's some topic there that we all want to speak about, me and Gaz are going to make sure it's not a slangy match. It's not going to be anything like that. It's going to be somebody can have a chance to come and say their version. We can all have our say as well. And let's do it in a proper manner. And we've also, the week after that, we're going back international, where we're going to get Louis Fierro on from Wahl, Canada. And we're going to have one of the biggest names in America as well, which is Bird Mina. Is going to be joining us on Barbers Arms in episode 43. So some great stuff coming up on the arms.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I know we've got loads of our usual followers. We've got Vagabonds, we've got Steve Bean, got Sam Arthur, and all our usuals that are already watching and waiting to come on. If you've got any questions, if you've got any guests that you want to see on the arms, drop us a line. As Simon's just said, we are going to have a question time. We're going to have our own group on Clubhouse as well, so we'll able to have a natter on top of what we do on the arms as well. So it's a really, really great thing that we're just about to bring Mr. Mark Woolley in as well. I'm just going to have a quick. Have you just had a shot without me, or are you slurping Stella?
No, I'm not drinking Stella shots.
Well, I think we ought to have a little shot. Just now you're back to normal and you're all fighting fit again. Good health, mate. All the best.
What shot are you having?
I've got my usual 5-all here. As you can see, our cinnamon whiskey. This is a brand new bottle of crack tonight, so we'll see how much of that's left by the time I go to bed tonight.
Oh my days! This is the spiced apple moonshine that.
Come on.
I got into, and I think it was probably a bit of respect for Alan Stone as well, but I'd seen a post saying somebody were going to watch Alf Weider's Impact out of respect that weekend after the sad passing of Alan. And I've kind of got back into it. I used to love it as a kid watching that, and I've watched Series 1, Series 2, and get up early before anybody's awake, because nobody would get it in this house. I don't think most of them were born when that were out there. But it's funny, it's just opening that jar then, Oz, Jimmy Nail, who played Oz in it, in one of the early episodes. I think they overacted it as the episodes got on. In the early days, he were fantastic. And he were eating lunch and he had a pickled onion and he drank the juice. And that kind of reminds me of a good health. I'll have a quick shot before we get Mark on.
Good health.
I can't believe we're getting paid to drink. There's something wrong here. Well, ladies and gents, Barbers Arms, episode 41. Nearly 6 million have tuned into us. Episode 41, we're going to fetch one of the biggest guests, one of the biggest names in the industry to the Arms for the first time. I've known this guy for some years and I've always looked up to him. And then a few years ago, he had the unfortunate pitching up aside a Wahl stage. And he's always got these fantastic cars that are all electrically logoed up and stuff. But I watched him all weekend and the way he handled himself, the way his team handled himself, and some of the stuff he's done over the years. But without further ado, please welcome the CEO of Electric Hairdressing Salons and Electric Products, the one and only Mr. Mark Woolley in the Arms.
How are you doing?
Good evening, sir.
Oh, amazing to see. I was trying to get a lighting director here to turn them up a bit so the light's brighter. There we go. Can you see me on there?
Well,
you look like you're dark. You look like you're in a Victorian library that you're trying to keep quiet, hide in a corner somewhere.
There we go. There you go.
That's
well, you know how I was thinking? I've got to join the Barbers Arms and come and join you in the pub. And I thought, I was looking through all my favourite pub scenes, and I thought, how can I make it look like you guys make it look? Brilliant job, by the way, you guys are doing. And I thought, actually, no, I'm in my own pub. I've got a beer. I'm down in the English countryside. You know, we're good.
Yeah, well, it looks amazing.
It does. It's an absolute pleasure, mate, to have you on the show. We finally got you on. I know, we try and make these arrangements, but we're actually being asked for people come on the show now, so we know we're doing something right. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. You travel. I mean, Simon's got a huge amount of questions for you anyway, but I'm just going to get in first because you're probably one of the most hardworking fellas in the industry I know. Bumped into you all over the place, all over North America. Not just lately, by the way. I think it's at least 12, 18 months since I've seen you on the circuit. But you've got all different businesses going on. You're a bit of an entrepreneur, not only, but I think your passion does lie with hairdressing still and your brand. But just quickly, I mean, we know an awful lot about you. But just quickly, can you give us a quick roundup for our viewers who probably some of them haven't? I don't know how they haven't, but the odd one that doesn't know what you are and who you're about. Just give us a quick roundup, mate, of what you are and who you are.
Well, thank you, Gary. That was a great intro. And you're right. I've run into you in more airports in America than what. We're not even going to mention the brothels and no, I'm joking. I am the guy that pitched up next to the Wahl stage when Simon was. So I'm Mark Woolley. My company is Electric. We are a hair brand, you know. I guess we've always had salons. Been a hairdresser now for 30 years. Every time I say that, I think, God, really? You know, I was 4 when I started. But you know, it's brilliant industry. I love it. Love hair. Been doing it pretty much all my life. And yeah, we started with salons. We started making products. We've got our own film and photographic studio as well, the electric studio. And we just, you know, we like bouncing off other hairdressers and working with other creative people and collaborating. Guys like you.
Well, that's an absolute honour to actually say that. I know, you know, you've been very modest in what you do. I know you've got, you know, a number of projects going on at the moment, and you've got your shared space that I want to talk about later in London, and you've got a huge project in the country, your barn that you're renovating and everything else, and you know, things that you do and the awards that you've won. But just quickly, you talked about collaboration, and that's really important for Electric as a brand. And I know you do, you know, you push your brand in North America, working with people like Anthony Edge, DJ Mulholland. I know you've done a lot with those guys, and in small and big arenas. Is that something you set out to do? Is that something that's really important to you? Is it just part of, like, a natural part of how the brand's grown?
I think I'd always, long before we were making products or anything like that, you know, I'd always travelled quite a lot to the US and a little bit to Canada as well, you know, and it was a bit of a natural progression, you know, and I think, you know, Electric's just always been a bunch of people collaborating, sharing what we've got and putting on education seminars. And then, you know, maybe 15 years ago, I was really fortunate to meet Richard, who's the chemist we work with on the products, you know, and the first thing we did is we made one product. It wasn't the usual hairdresser that, you know, built a profile and now thought it's time to start a product line. You know, we were making a product because we found something that was unique. We found one product that evaporated on the hair and was really good for session hairdressers. So, you know, we started sharing it with people we work with and people we were collaborating with, and we grew it from there. You know, and it's always been a gang of us. You know, there's a reason it's not called Mark Woolley. It's called Electric. You know, because it's about lots of us. And yeah, when it became time to take it on the road and start widening the reach and sharing it with a few people, it was brilliant. And like I say, running into guys like you on the road, you know, I see Simon all over the world. I think you're saying about being hard working. I don't think there's anyone who's got more air miles than Simon, you know.
Yeah. And I'm not sharing them with anybody. I just try and keep them, so you know, I get at least down to Benidorm once a year on my air miles. Mark, we've got a series of questions. I know you've clicked into Barbers Arms. One of your mates were on there last week, Barry Stevens.
Great.
Who I'm sure is tuning in tonight. So we're going to ask you a series of questions just about your career in general, and then we'll finish off with a quick fire profile on Mark Woolley. But my first question to you is, where did the name Electric come from? What's the concept behind the name?
Well, I'll tell you what, it became, when I thought about a salon, you know, and to me, a hairdresser, no matter what you've done or awards or anything like that, the job of a hairdresser or a barber is to make the person in the chair feel great. And for me, it was about, part of that was the atmosphere of the salon. So we wanted clients to come in, have a good time, enjoy it, have a laugh while they were there, have a great haircut. So it was that. The atmosphere was electric. It came from that.
I like that.
When I was starting it, I remember coming up with all of the, you know, the branding, and, you know, I was really happy with the name. And the great thing about our industry is you can share it with loads of other people. You can talk about things, you can ask questions, you know, you can phone people up. And one of the guys I was talking a lot to at the time was Trevor Sorby. And I remember him saying to me, it's your time now. You have to leave the sort of corporate environment I was working in. He said, "You've got to leave. You've got to do it yourself. You know, you've got to start your own company." So I was on the route of doing that, and in that few month period while it was happening, I was talking to him, and I had all the electric branding, and I showed it to him. I said, "Here it is." You know, I hadn't told him what it was going to be called. I passed it to him, and his face, I could see his face drop. And I said, "Oh, do you like it?" You know, and he said, "Well, can I be honest?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "No, I think it's shit." You know, he said, and he, I remember thinking, you know, this is someone who was like my kind of guy. You think that hairdressing, you know, you think that guy, you know, I'm inspired by what he's doing, and you know, the great thing about anything creative is it is subjective, and what works for one person maybe isn't going to work for another. And he explained it to me later. He said, "Look, his philosophy was all about taking conviction and putting your own name above the door." And I always felt comfortable it being a brand, you know. And if it was a brand, it could be about everyone, like you do with Wahl, like Gary does with British Barbers, you know. But there's no right or wrongs, you know. It hasn't done Gordon Ramsay any harm being Gordon Ramsay, you know, and you know, it's just what whoever feels comfortable with. That's where it came from.
Do you know what, Mark? I think it's really poignant, and it goes without saying, but I think when you do put your name above the door, if people do come into your store and you have multiple locations, and this was pointed out to me by Johnny King, and you know, it's true. If you have your name above the door and you are not in that particular location, somebody's going to be pissed off, aren't they? You know what I mean? Because you're not actually there. They get to, you know, Mark Woolley hair or Gordon Ramsay's, and if Gordon isn't, they feel almost a little bit cheated sometimes if they've got that money to spend. I'm not saying everybody. I mean, Trevor Sorby and Evertonian guy and everybody else who's done really, really well. But I think that's a really clever move that you actually did that, because then when you've got multiple locations, the expectation is if you're there, yeah, it's great. If you're not, they know what they're getting. They're getting to electric hair. And I think that, you know, from a name point of view, I think it's fantastic. I think it's great.
I love the brand. I love what you've done with the camper van and the cars, and they just so stand out when you go to an exhibition. And it's such a big photograph moment as well. Everybody wants to get the photograph taken. So great marketing, great ideas behind it. So we've got the electric hair salon, we've got the brand, and obviously I know you did your initial training through Saks, didn't you?
I did.
Up in the north, and you've kind of got your northern accent still in there, but it's not as strong as mine. So we're going to work on that for you over lockdown. We're going to do some Yorkshireisms and phrases to get you back into that northern accent. But let me ask you another question. You are so busy, and a lot of people want to be you and want that kind of cool brand and want to be as successful as you. But if Mark Woolley could come out and be someone else in the industry for 24 hours, who would you like to be?
To be someone in the industry?
Well, let's do the industry, and then you can do it. You can do somebody else after the industry, you know, whoever you'd think. But, you know, who would you like to be for 24 hours in this industry?
I'd be you, mate, because I reckon I could do your accent, and if I could have the following, you're like when you turn up and you land in a country, you're like the god of the barbering world. You know, yeah, I'd be that. I'd be a bit more ginger than you, not quite as Yorkshire as you, but I'm proud as my Yorkshire roots. But you know what? I'd be happy doing that.
A tiny bit taller as well, I'm guessing. Just a tad.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a few inches. And if you were going to be a celebrity for 24 hours, who would you be?
Say that again, sorry, Simon.
If you're going to be a celebrity for 24 hours, who would you like to be?
Oh, my God. A celebrity for 24 hours, who would I be? I'd be Paul McCartney, because he's one of the surviving Beatles.
Brilliant.
Nice one.
And you'd have done all that. You'd have been away with the Maharishi. You'd have had all all those memories, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a tough. I was going through a question today.
Right, I'm being heckled here because I've got, you know, we've all got our bubbles here, and I'm down here at our farm, you know, at the electric farm, Falmer Court, and I've got one of the founder members of Tony and Guy here, one of the founder members of the Tony and Guy art team, Tim Avery.
Hi, Tim.
Oh, hi, Tim.
We're good. And so Tim's in our bubble, you know, he's been here now for 7 weeks or something, you know, and you know, just can't keep up with it. But he's heckling me, shouting out. He shouted Jimmy Savile. You know when.
Easy, Tim.
I know.
For all our viewers out there, we don't condone anything about Jimmy Savile on this show, by the way.
Yeah, Simon, maybe don't bring him into the Yorkshireisms later. You don't mind.
No, definitely not. So we see, guys, that's my claim to fame now. Mark Woolley wants to be me for 24 hours. I'll come back with a scenario for you, Mark, and let you live with one of my 24 hours abroad and see whether you like it or not. I'm sure you would. I'm a bit of a snob with hotels and stuff and getting upgrades and stuff like that. It's got to be right. It's got to be right. Gary, have you got any questions yet? Because I've got a load lined up here.
Well, just from your background, and you said you come from Saks, and you know, from how you run your business. I know it's a apprenticeship week. It's really important. It's really important from an industry point of view, and from mine as an educator and being a business owner. Does Electric take apprentices on? Do you actually furnish your business with apprentices?
Absolutely.
Do you follow apprenticeships?
You know, Gary, we've built the whole thing on education. You know, I left school when I was 16. You know, went straight in, and I had brilliant training. You know, and Saks is an important part of my heritage. You know, and we've carried that forward. You know, we have our own electric education part of our business, and you know, we take school leavers, we take people who come into the industry later, and we think we give them a really great apprenticeship. Normally takes around 3 years because we train people in cutting, colouring, barbering. You know, we kind of cover the whole spectrum, and we want people to you know, go through the whole journey with us and do well with it.
I'm glad you've said that, Mark, and you just to let everybody hear that, the value of apprenticeships with our business and in our trade. And if it isn't for the apprentices coming through, we're really going to suffer. And you know, everybody knows what different times we're in at the moment. But I think it's really important to keep in mind about the apprenticeship. I brought it up because it's apprenticeship week and we celebrate everything apprentice-wise. And I know Simon's been in education himself from a centre point of view as well, and he knows the hardships that everybody's going through. But you know, from our members, this is the time where they probably cut back on things like that, whereas it should be the other way around. You know, we should be. This is the time students start coming out of school, leaving school. We should be looking at bolstering your business with new blood and bringing them in through the apprenticeship route. And I just wanted somebody of your stature to just reinforce that for us and just let it know how important it is and the value of an apprenticeship.
It's all about that. And I think in the barbering world, you've got a lot of excitement, you know, in the, you know, a lot of people want to be part of that culture, you know, and yeah. I think your career is all about who you meet, who teaches you. You know, it's like school. You remember the good teachers and you remember the shit ones, don't you? You know, and I think it's the same in hairdressing. It's the people along the way that have just taken the time to say, hey, have a look at this, and hey, here's, you know, and I think there are certain catalysts, you know, in our industry for that. And I think you guys are it. So you, Gary, all over the world, well, all over the States where I run into you mainly, but you know, you're there teaching people, you know, and you put your stamp on that. Simon, you've been doing that as long as I've been in the industry, you know, all over the world, you know. And,
well, I'm not that old. Just for the viewers that's watching, I'm not that much older than Mark, so let's not just look everybody. Do you know what though, Gary? I'll pay you a compliment here. When I spoke to Mark about it, I said, "Oh, Gaz, there was something mentioned about the BBA," and he went, "Yeah, I see that older guy with the tash and the grey hair. Oh yeah, that's Gaz. You've seen him all over the world."
You know,
there's only 6 years between me and Gaz, but you know, it looks well for 6 years older. What are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking it's called a lager beer hell.
Oh, wow.
Jim brought with us, actually. I talk about Northern and, you know, Yorkshire and, you know, Jamaica. I was drinking Red Stripe earlier. And then Tim, who, you know, I'm obviously a Northern lad, and Tim's grown up in Guildford in Surrey. You know, he likes to bring the, you know, the lager beer hell along.
And Tim drinking the same as well?
Tim, what are you drinking?
Same. We might just get Tim on as well for all our viewers just before we finish this interview, Mark. We might just get Tim just to say hello to all our viewers. And again, tonight, joining us from China, India, Dubai and Spain. Welcome to all of you. And again, Happy New Lunar Ox Year to all our colleagues in China. Don't forget to follow us on our Instas. You'll see Mark Woolley's Instagram account coming up as well on your screens now as well. So if you want to give Mark a follow and see what's happening in Mark's land, and especially not just his hairdressing and his products, but the artwork that this guy does as well. I'm going to be very fortunate to receive one of his prints that is kindly given over to me, which, let me just tell you also, it's not for something to give to, not to give somebody to charity. It's for me to hang myself, so I can't wait for that as well. But Mark, coming on to a next question that I'd like to ask you. Bit of a weird one. It's going to be a bit of a curveball, but if you could be the PM, the Prime Minister of the hairdressing industry, what would you change? What would you want to stop straight away?
You know what I'd want to do? I would want to create a better perception for school leavers, you know, because I think if you leave school wanting to be a chef, there's all these examples of people that are amazing. And I think when when you go, I want to go in there and show careers officers in schools how great hairdressing is and how, you know, how great it can be. You know, I'd like to tell stories of people like you that travel around the world, people that have won loads of awards, people that have built brands and companies, people that have, you know, I think our story needs telling better. And I'd go and tell that in students.
Did you watch Sally's film that Sally put together?
Absolute, you know, and I think Sally's a real visionary and a proven visionary. And I think, you know, to get that, you know, on Amazon Prime and, you know, and that is getting it out there. I think the more people that get behind that and do similar things, the better.
I was very lucky enough to work on that film as well with her, because she phoned me about the barbering sector, and we changed it around. We were going to do something in the south, and we actually used Joth Salon up in Savills in Sheffield to do the barbering interviews. And I went to the premiere as well down in London, and it was fantastic. And again, she's such an ambassador for our industry and some of the stuff she does. And again, looking at the British Hairdressing Awards this year virtually, she just hit the button, what she did with the mannequins and things.
I think it's something that's a resource that's underused. Not a lot of people know about it, though, do they? You know, that's another thing. And I think sometimes it's the best kept secrets within the industry. I know you've worked with the Hair Council as well. We've used your premises for intimate nights, you know, just to raise the profile of hairdressing and barbering as well. And I know Emma Brady, you know, Choose Hair. That's another great way of she's doing great things. I think it's just about collaboration as well and getting everybody talking off the same hymn sheet, isn't it? You know, and trying to do good things all around. I think we're in a better position now than we've been for a long time, because there's a lot of people getting involved as well. So, but I agree, something like that as a resource, they should almost show that as a careers talk almost. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, And I think for a lot of people as well, they don't realise the high percentage of people that are their own bosses, that, you know, that work for themselves going forward within the industry. So, and there's a lot of positive. I mean, most mum and dads, if the kid comes home and says, you know, I'm getting into hairdressing, they're almost looking down the nose straight away, aren't they? You'll never make any money. You'll never do this. You'll never do that. And yet you've got yourself sitting in front of us, who's a perfect example of what can be achieved. And I think that has to be celebrated, you know, wherever we can get it out, really.
I think, you know, there are great things happening in the industry that definitely showcase hairdressing and barbering as a credible career. But, you know, when you look at some of the, you know, I made the comparison with chefs earlier. You know, they're the guys. When I started hairdressing, the people on morning TV presenting were Trevor Sorby and Anthony Mascolo, and it kind of it made that career seem really credible and really. Whereas the people presenting on morning TV and, you know, and stuff like that are chefs now. I think that was why I made that comparison. But there's probably more creativity going on in our world.
Yeah.
It just needs shouting about louder, I think.
Can you remember the style? What was it called?
Style Challenge.
Style Challenge. I think I did two on there, or 3 episodes with Hilary Alexander, and, you know, that used to be fantastic though. I used to love doing that.
It's things like that. I think it's whatever people can do to bring our industry to the forefront, because there's so much creativity, there's so much community spirit. You know, there's a real tight knit community in there that I think needs shouting about. And
yeah,
you know,
I completely agree. And that leads me on to my next question, which is, what has been, I mean, growing up, coming through the, and, you know, as a young Yorkshire lad, coming into London and being part of Fellowship and watching, you know, like your Tims, and coming and watching Patrick Cameron as a young lad, he was like, used to watch it all and think, oh, I've got to be on these stages. And looking back, I've got my favourite era of when I was training or when I first broke onto the scene. But what's your favourite era? What's the favourite time in your hairdressing career?
I probably think when I was a trainee and a young stylist, because you know, I think the mindset is you've got to continue learning throughout your whole career. But I think when you're most like a sponge and you're most absorbent of everything around you is when you're there. And for me, that was seeing what Anthony Mascolo did at that time. You know, I think, you know, to me, that they blew my mind. I was talking to Tim about that earlier. You know, they had everything covered. You know, you opened a Vogue magazine and they were on an early right-hand page with an ad. It looked like Rankin had shot it, but actually Anthony had shot it, and he'd done the hair as well. And it looked like the only way you could get that look was to use the products, go to their salons. I loved that. You know, that. And when I look at what we're trying to do with electric, it's similar. You know, you think, right, we've got this whole thing, whole melting pot. It's obviously much smaller and you know, we're at the craft brewer end of life, but you know, we believe in those philosophies, and I'm sure I absorbed them subliminally when I was that age, you know, and great haircutters and great session people and styling hair, and you know, just anyone doing anything different, you know, was you know, pick it up.
I'll never forget being, I'm sure you can as well, Tim, remember this, but we used to do, like, you had Salon International, but you can remember Spring Salon, and it would always be somewhere like in the NEC or Manchester. Yeah. It was like an halfway through a year. I always remember I'd watched him in London. It was Charlie Miller, Guy Kramer, and Anthony. And then I turned up at Spring Salon once, and I got in there quite early. I was only a visitor. I remember, guys, just a really small stand. It was a new product company, and Guy would just stood there on a really small platform, just cutting men's hair, because I think he'd just started to go into men's stuff, and he'd won the men's hairdresser of the year. I just stood there for probably about 5 hours. I just didn't move. I just watched. Yeah. And I was very lucky. Isn't it funny how things come around? I remember then, about 5 years later, I judged a competition with him in Oxford. And I was just starting to do well. I just got a new car and he pulled up, and then Guy pulled up in this fantastic Mercedes with his registration plate, Guy. And then you think you're doing really well, and then when you're going back to the rooms just to have a little chat and stuff, and he's telling me he's charging 200 quid for a blow dryer, I realised I weren't doing that well, to be fair. I needed to keep my head down and knuckle down and try and do it. But you realise later that sometimes there are a little bit of BS in there as well. But all those guys were just iconic names, iconic careers to look up to. And that era for me, I think, when I was just breaking through, learning was one of my favourite times of these people, you know? And I think, I don't know about you, Gary, but I was on an interview. It's coming out next week, actually. And I was asked a question about, if you didn't work for Wahl, who would you like to work for? And it's really funny, this, not that I'm touting for later on in life, Mark, but I did say that there's a few brands out there that really inspire me, that really think that if I weren't doing this stage work at Wahl, what would I like to do? And yours was one of the names that I came up with, that if I'd chosen a different path, I said, I'd love to work with a guy. I'd love to impress him. I'd love to make his brand even better with what you could offer. So electric would be one of the areas where if I weren't with Wally, I took a different path, or if there was something in future, it's somewhere where, you know, I would look to do. And I can't pay anybody a bigger compliment than that. You know, it's a big compliment to pay.
Thank you so much. I've got Tim typing the contract now as we're speaking. But,
make sure he's got plenty of zeros at the end of it, Tim, when you're doing that. 0, 0, 0, fucking lot of money. But I'm worth it. I'm worth it, baby.
It would be brilliant. Can you imagine that? I think we'd probably get into trouble, wouldn't we?
Stop thinking now. Stop over-processing it.
Yeah.
I just want to come and share a bubble with you two icons there down in Falmer Court. Tim Avery and you. You're in a bubble. What are you trying to make everybody jealous? There's thousands of hairdressers watching this tonight thinking, I want to be in that bubble with you guys.
We're, I know, it's like, it's some bubble, I can tell you.
This is a lock-in time, isn't it? This is a group where if we were in the boozer, none of us would want to go home, and we stayed in, and we'd have a bit of a lock-in and have a late. And so
I thought you were in the boozer. It's great where you are, Gary.
That's his real house. That's his cellar.
That's his ale house.
Professional drinker.
He's a pro. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, while we've got him in the house as well, Tim Avery. Tim, we've got the next 4 or 5 weeks lined up. But Tim, we'd love your guest on Barbers Arms, mate. A massive name in the industry, a massive legend. So we'll get the producers to get in touch with you, but it'd be fantastic to have you as a guest on Barbers Arms in the next 4 or 5 weeks, if you would do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You've heard it live, ladies and gentlemen, all the thousands of followers tonight, all across the world. Tim Avery's agreed to come and join us on Barbers Arms, probably episode 45. Tim, we're holding you to that.
I'll be there.
Great news, Tim. Thank you very much. Just before we move on now, we have got a new, it's about weeks old. We've got a little, I don't know if you've seen it on previous episodes, but we've got a little project called Rant or Rave. So this is where we're going to give you, and our viewers can see this, it's where we spin the wheel. We've got different things that we can talk about, and it stops independently. We don't even know what it's going to be, and you've got to rant or rave for 2 minutes about this particular subject. So, producer, are you going to spin the wheel for us and give us and what your subject tonight is going to be, Mark, reality TV. So you've got 2 minutes to rant or rave about reality TV, starting now, sir.
I'm going to do both. It's a good thing because it's changing and groundbreaking, and but it's a bad thing because it's made stupid people famous. And for me, I think if you've got to be talented. You've got to have earned your stripes. You've got to be fucking good at what you do. If you're famous for the sake of being famous, it's all a bit shit. But I don't like to be negative, so it was different. It did change things in the early noughties. But where is Craig from Big Brother now? That's what I would ask you.
He's locked up in Avid Merrian's cupboard last time I saw him.
He's in Leeds.
With a drill.
Isn't it?
That's fantastic.
Tim's just said he's going out with his ex-girlfriend.
Oh, nice.
The Thai one.
Is she in the bubble as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Fucking magic bubble, that. It's getting better by the second. I'm buying a ticket. Get me a ticket to Falmouth, please. Taxi for sure. You can do the contract while I'm down there. We're going to kill loads of birds with one stone.
Simon, can I just say, I have actually got, so I've got this artwork here for you. I'm going to give you a little, right, so I've got I've got one on the wall. That's Blow, that is. And I've got this one on the floor.
Oh, I love it.
That's my Union Jack that's coming your way.
Can't wait. Just tell everybody what it's made up of, though. Just tell them how you did it.
Well, it's made up of. So in the mid '60s, David Bailey, the great photographer, shot on a 35mm Rolleiflex, iconic camera. And all of his imagery, you can imagine, all the pictures he shot of Michael Caine and John Lennon and, everyone he shot in that era, all made up of black, whites and greys. So we've torn up the black, whites and greys and we've made a Union Jack.
Can't wait.
So you guys, I mean, Gary, you'll know, obviously Paul Stafford. I was thinking of him earlier because, when you mentioned about Guy Kramer cutting hair on a stage and sharing it with an audience. And, I see Paul doing that, all over the stage.
Yeah.
And he's a very talented guy, very honest guy, that stands up and shares what he's doing. And, I see him, he took over from me as the global brand ambassador for Denman, and, I see him doing that. And when I made the Bailey thing of the Union Jack, I did one of the mod sign, the target, which kind of reminded me of him when I was doing it. And produced one and he's got it in his salon in Belfast. And I think, with all the stuff, creative things we do as hairdressers, we should be sharing them. And like you say, those people that we're standing there and sharing our ideas and creativity with other hairdressers, and they are with us. That's what propels the industry forward, and that's what we all need to be tuned into, I think.
Well, I can't wait for my Union Jack. I'm not sharing it with anybody.
I'm going to get a Yorkshireism, and I'm going to print it. Oh, I'm going to overprint yours with a Yorkshireism. So what I'd like to know, you can private message me if you can't say it live. What's your favourite Yorkshireism?
Charette.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So in Barnsley, we when there's a couple I can't say online, but when the lads are talking to each other, sometimes if they're going on too much, we'll just if we're having a beer now, we'll go Charette. Which for all you guys out there will translate as me shut up, but we say Charette, which is spelled Sherrep. Charette.
I like it.
It's my favourite.
Well, I'm going to bespoke your artwork with it.
Can't wait.
Perfect.
So, we're going to move on, Mark. We finish off on Barbers Arms with a quick fire question to get a profile for Mark Woolley for all our viewers. Don't forget, guys, Simon Shaw, Wahl, Gaz, British Barber, Barber_Arms. You can now join Barbers Arms on Clubhouse as well, where we can raise this week's topics. And coming up, obviously, next week's a big one, where you can fire your questions at some barbers who are in the spotlight at the minute. If you want to download the last 40 episodes, you can do so on our website, which is thebarbersarms.co.uk. Mark Woolley, from the CEO of Electric Hair Salons and Electric Products, we're going to finish off with some quick fire questions. So what's your favourite music?
Indie. British indie.
British indie. Okay. What's your favourite drink? Beer. I like that. When Mark's ever come to any after parties with me and stuff like that, you just know he's not interested in champagne and stuff. We just go in corner and have a few beers and try and get as many.
I quite like
sausages
Del Boy's cocktail he used to have, with it was like maybe sham and orange, with an umbrella in. A beer.
Well, Gaz is doing. You'll watch tonight, or watch any episode tonight. I'll do one tonight, but that's his 41st different cocktail. Honestly, he's the new Del Boy. Matt, what's your favourite destination? Where's the favourite place you either like to work or vacation with your family?
Yorkshire.
Oh, I love it. He's just doing it for me, you see. God's country, Gaz. You need to get there as much as you can when we can move about freely. What's your favourite food?
God, that's a hard one. Steak and kidney pie, obviously.
There's some people out going, he's pillicking now. He's got to be pillicking. I don't think he is, guys. I think this is dead genuine. Matt, who is your ideal dinner date? Who would you like to have a real nice, night with? Not just a meal, but a few beers and a meal.
Well, it has to be Tim Avery, because he's the only one in my bubble. Apart from my wife and kids, obviously. He's not in there.
Okay.
I'd like to mention.
He's not? Very complicated. We will put all the answers to Mark's bubble on a postcard or a stamp to you in the next week. So, Mark, I knew you'd be awesome tonight, as always. I can't wait to see my Union Jack David Bailey collection coming through to me. But here we've got Mark Woolley, fantastic hairdresser. Most importantly, no matter what he's achieved in his career, what brand he's got, how good he is, he's just a really good guy. And that, for me, makes, you take people like that with you forever. So we've got Mark Woolley, and he's sat in his favourite destination, which would obviously be in Yorkshire. Some part of Yorkshire is Mark's favourite destination. He's listening to some indie music. He's having one of his favourite beers. He's having a steak and kidney pie, and he's doing all this above with the one and only. Going to see him on episode 45 from Tony and Guy, Mr. Tim Avery. Mark, you've been an amazing guest tonight. Tim, we'll say goodbye to Tim as well. Tim.
Can I say something?
Of course you can, mate.
What a success within the industry Mark Woolley is that. What he's created, what he's done is out there.
I agree.
Believe in yourself and go for it.
Spiked his beer earlier.
Yes.
With fruit serum.
You deserve everything that's coming to you, mate. I will message you over the weekend, but Mark.
Simon. Gary, good to see you guys. And great to see all of you who are watching, and thank you for having me on.
It's been an absolute pleasure, mate. People, you ought to just Google this guy. We've only scratched the surface. This is only a quarter of Mark Woolley and Electric's story and the history of the brand. But it's always a pleasure, sir. Can't wait for having a beer with you when all this madness is over. We'll enjoy. But this is one of those nights we could have carried. The producer's actually in our ears now, actually saying, "Get him off," because we've got to go. But it's been an absolute pleasure.
Great to see you guys. Thank you so much.
Mark Woolley, ladies and gents. Wow, guys, what an interview. Loved having Mark on the arms tonight. Super guest as I thought he would be. What a talent. And I do mean that, if I weren't working with Wahl, one of the groups that I would have liked to have worked and helped to run the business or helped to develop a side of their business would have been somebody like Electric, because he's a cool guy. He's got so many strings to, and I always look at when you're working with people, it's learning as well yourself. I learned so much off RMD, Mr. Goodman at Wahl UK, and the other directors. On that as well, I'd like to wish Anthony Edwards, our sales director at Wahl UK, happy birthday, Anthony. Still in his 40s, but happy birthday to you, young fella. I know you're having a steak dinner tonight and watching some boring film like you normally do, something like Lord of the Rings, but I'll get you into my kind of pictures at some point. Happy birthday.
Do you know what, though? When you get certain people on, like, the caliber of guests that we're having on now, and, we talked about, he talked about being accessible, having teachers that you remember who are good, who are bad. When you get people like this on who are so approachable, you see them in an airport, we see them I think we were all together in Chicago, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. Yeah, we were.
We went out for a beer. I watched the baseball, and then we met up after. I think, you know, he bought another name up there, you know, Mr. Stafford in Belfast, took over from him as Denman ambassador. Those kind of people, I think they're all cut from, you know, and this is not generalising, that they're all cut from the same cloth, but they've got a lot of the same qualities, if you like, because they are very successful in their own right, but they are accessible as well. You know, you can talk to them, you can ask them for information, that they'll talk to you in a way that, you know, there's no airs and graces as well. But I think also what you've got to remember with Mark is as well, it's his own brand. He's not being taken over into America with a brand. He's spending his own money.
He's done so well.
He's taking his own chances and doing it, you know, obviously he's collaborating with different people. People give him information, you know, help him along that journey. But it's his brand, you know, and I think that's commendable in a way where you go to North America. Not a lot of brands make it in North America, you know, independents of a size that he is and are very successful. So even more so to take my hat off him. That, you know, it's a fantastic story. Great.
Good to have him in the arms tonight. We're very fortunate in our bar that we get all these celebrity hairdressers and barbers joining us. So yeah, it's just nice. Great interview. Coming up tonight, cocktail time. Where are we? I need to go. I'm going for a C in 3. I'm going for a wee. I'll leave you to the cocktail.
You're getting back road, aren't you? Right. So, ladies and gents, it's that time, cocktail time. So tonight is a bit of a homage to Chinese New Year. So we're doing a Chinese whisper. So I was going to do, it was a toss-up tonight, whether it's obviously Chinese New Year today. It's Valentine's weekend. So this is something that you could use for the love of your life. I was going to do a birthday, our producer, his favourite cocktail. But we'll do that next week because I know he really loves that, and it's Peruvian. So we've got the ingredients for that now. So start off with something I prepared earlier. Got some ice in there. And when we put the ice in, make sure it isn't wet. It's dry ice, so it's taken out of there straight from the freezer. I use the thermos because obviously I can't get to the freezer. And then we go and take in, we got 2 shots or 60 ml of vodka, 2 ounces of vodka that go in there. First of all, though, when I look where we are, I'm just getting something I prepared earlier. We need a muddler. So a muddler is, for everybody who doesn't know, is what we muddle leaves with or herbs and spices. And what we're doing with this particular one is we've got 2 thumb-sized pieces, if you like, nails, something like that. This is fresh ginger. So just slice 2 pieces of fresh ginger. So we just muddle that into your dish. Absolutely beautiful. The smell is tremendous. So we just muddle that. And all what you're doing is getting all the juice, the oil out of the product you're using. You can do this, you know, when you do a mojito or whatever you're doing, but we're doing this with a Chinese whisper. So that goes in first. We muddle that up. So we just finish that off and we just muddle that. So we've got that in there. Then we've got, this is lychee liqueur. So it's Chinese whisper. It's got to have, you have lychees wherever you go, don't you? And you go for a Chinese or for a Chinese meal. So we've got 1 ounce or 1 shot of lychee liqueur. We've got 15 ml or half a shot of fresh lime juice. That goes in. And then we've got our morning. So our simple syrup. You can get this from all good outlets. So can you see that? There you go. So it's there. So 7.5 ml. So 1/4 of a shot. That goes in. That's the sweetness. And then we shake it up. So we've shaken that up, and you can see I've got a chilled glass there. That we got our martini glass. Just take that off. We don't use any more ice. We just strain this, and we fine strain this. So we're going to strain this into our glass. We're not using our. You can use your strainer that comes with you. That is too thick. We need a fine strainer because of the much ginger. And we actually put, look at that, perfect amount. Anybody think I'd done this? Practice this before. So we get rid of our shaker, and there you have our perfect Chinese whisper. So good health, everybody. Cheers.
Good health. Happy New Year to you guys.
Slanjivar. Happy New Year in Chinese, whatever that is.
In one as well. Oh, don't like our Malaysian friends.
Oh, that is beautiful. You'd love that. I'm going to leave that one for the rest of that for the barmaid. She'll come down and she'll want a taste of that. So there we have it, our Chinese whisper, purely our homage to Chinese New Year tonight. So, are you all set again? Are you ready for the second half now? Are you frozen? Is it the drink? Hello. Well, I'll carry on anyway. I can't even hear him either. You might have to switch on and off, mate. I don't know what's happened to you there. We've got our next guest on, which is Mr. Sam Arthur, one of our Northern Ireland guests. Comes all the way from Belfast. He's the owner of Sam's Barbershop in the centre of Belfast. He's a SRSB, so he is a state registered senior barber, and he's got his master craftsman. He's a Hall of Fame winner, and he's absolute pleasure to have him on. So as soon as we can get Simon back and get Sam back on, I'm not sure where he is. How's that taste, dear? Is that okay? So we just got a few technical problems. We're just getting Simon back on, and Sam is just going to join us. He's just coming into the car park. I think Jackie. I know. We've just got to. We've just lost Simon, and we can't get Sam on at the moment. So that's fine. Just. Can I take this opportunity just to thank a few people who are on the show? So we've got our usual crew. We got Mark Walters, we got Alison Russo-Brown, we got Sorrel, who I keep following you, Sorrel, seeing your great posts all the time. We got Vagabonds, who's Jamal there, who's just launched his new barber oil. I don't know if it's breath musk or bear's musk. I couldn't tell off your post there. Sam, are you there?
Hello.
How are we, sir? Oh, we got Simon back as well at the same time. How the devil are we, mate?
Okay, Tom. How are you?
I'm very well. Did you hear your introduction then? Did I get all that right then?
I never heard it.
Oh, I'll do it all over again. So we've got the owner of Sam's Barbershop in Belfast. You've been there since 1987, is it?
That's
You've been
87.
Yeah. You are one of our Hall of Fame original winners, and you are state registered senior barber and master craftsman. So it's with great pleasure we have you on the show tonight, all the way from Belfast in Northern Ireland, Mr. Sam Arthur. How are we, sir?
I'm okay. Thanks for having me. At last, thank you.
And I can see this isn't going to be a bar that's superimposed. This is your own bar home, isn't it?
Yeah, this is my bar. Yeah, welcome. It's Sammy Weller's Mod Bar.
Simon, are you
with us?
Well, you took a drink of that and then you froze, and I carried on talking. And I was saying to everybody, that's what's happened to Gaz. He's put too much ice in, so he's froze. But I didn't realise that I was froze as well. So I do apologise to everybody. Sam, how you doing, bro?
Okay, how are you?
We're very well,
Good to
thank
see you.
you. Good to see you,
Good to
mate.
see you.
Nice spa you've got there.
Yeah, thank you. It's well used anyway.
Well,
Very is.
I'm guessing that this current lockdown, this current situation, it is anyway. Now you've got almost an alter ego from being a barber, Sam, and we'll go through all things barbering in a minute. But you are a bit of a maniac for scooters, aren't you? Of all shapes, different types.
Yeah. It's a what can you say? It's a disease, I think. I just can't stop buying scooters, and I just love them. And when I buy them, I never sell them. And my wife's always on at me. We're running out of room here. You're gonna have to sell a few. But no, I love them. Love them.
How many
love
do
the
you
whole
have?
culture. 9 in total. But they're all most of them are all vintage scooters, 1959 onwards. So they are. So I've a room in my home, in my house. It's just it's a scooter room, so I keep them all in a room in the house. So
do you know what? I was obviously I follow you anyway, and you know we've spoken, we've met over the years, and you post quite a lot of stuff, and most of it is you know scooter related. And I said to the missus earlier, I said, I wonder what would happen if I did that at home. Like, I said, who'd be first to go, the scooters or the missus? And I said,
well, I said to my wife, you're lucky we don't live in a bungalow or have the scooters in the bedroom.
Now you've been a barber for many years. Obviously, you're in Belfast. You've got a great following in Northern Ireland, and you travel over to the mainland for all the competitions. You're a Hall of Fame winner. We see you at all the shows as well. And I know we can tell by looking at your appearance, you got a bit of a homage to the mod era. I should imagine you're a Jam fan as well.
The Jam, Paul Weller, the Kinks, everything, Northern Soul, you name it, love it.
Yeah,
especially my guilty pleasures, 70s music. So it is.
All right.
I love the old 70s music.
Do you know, Sam? Well, sorry, guys.
No, go on.
I was just saying, the first time I ever came over to Northern Ireland was years ago, and I just opened up a salon services store, but over in Dublin. Yeah. On the Red Cow roundabout. I'd done the big opening ceremony there with them. And then I came over, I did a seminar the day after over at Air Traffic. And we stayed in the Europa Hotel. Yeah. It was my first time in Belfast. I'm going back here probably now 20 years ago, maybe 15, 20 years ago. And we went to the Crown Pub for some drinks. Yeah. And then we went up to the Red Panda, all on Botanica Drive. Yeah. And do you know what? I fell in love with Belfast there and then. And every time now I visit Belfast, I really do enjoy the atmosphere in that city. It's amazing. I really do like it. Yeah.
Well, the first place I worked in was a hairdresser. It was probably one of the best hairdressers in Belfast back in the 80s. It was actually just beside the Crown Bar and Robinson's Bar facing the Europa. So it was a place called Hairlines. So, you know, that's gone back years and years. And then, you know, we moved on. But yeah, it's Belfast is brilliant. Honestly, brilliant place. Love it.
Do you know what? I've worked in Northern Ireland a lot. We used to do level 4 courses all over Northern Ireland. Myself and Eric Lander, we used to take the level 4 all over Northern Ireland. We've worked all over the place and travelled down into the south and Tipperary and everywhere else. So we know it quite well. But a great friend of ours comes from Belfast as well, you know, Mr. Johnny King. And we've also got Mary and Gary from Hollywood as well.
Hollywood,
which are great friends of ours. It's a really, really, it's completely changed from, you know, when all the troubles in. You've got to bring it up because Belfast was was constantly in the news from our point of view. As much as you were living it, we were seeing it from afar. But it's almost defined Belfast at one time. I think it's lost thrown off those shackles now. And I was over there a couple of years ago for a show with Gary and Mary, and it was an absolute pleasure to walk around the city now. It's full of Michelin star restaurants, great pubs, great crack, lovely people. And it's turned into an absolutely still got its scars like everywhere else,
it's like everywhere.
Yeah, and but from your point of view, and living and being brought up in there, it must be a great place to work now. And how long have you had your own business? And tell us a little bit about your barbershop.
Well, my barbershop, I'm in the industry 35 years, and in my original barbershop 34 years. So I went on later on in life and done the city and guilds and all the rest of it and stuff. But where I am, it's like a mile outside the city centre of Belfast, and the people are great. And people say to me, would you not move somewhere else, and would you not go here? Would you not go there? And see, to be honest, my father always had shops in that area. So, and I grew up in the area, and where my shop is now, I was the local paper boy. So I was a 10-year-old, you know what I mean? So everybody knew me. And then it came about, my father was retiring, and I bought the shop off. It was a chip shop, and then I bought it off him. And then we turned it into a salon, and a barber shop. So, I've always been brought up in that area, and I love the people. And where we are is predominantly a Protestant area, but I have so many, now we are a cross community. So there's every denomination comes into my shop, and it's absolutely amazing. You know what I mean? Everybody's, there. And, back in the 80s, it was different, but, you evolve, you know what I mean? Your trade evolves, and people move away and come back. And, I mean, I was talking to guys the other day, and their sons were standing beside them, and I'm going, Flip, I remember your dad coming into my shop when he was your age. Do you know what I mean? And it's, and they're bringing their children in. Do you know what I mean? And it's great. You know what I mean? Because, why would you want to move? You know what I mean? I love my place, and the place is big, and the area has been good to me. So I like to give back and just stay in that area. It's handy for everyone, because we have so many people traveling. I mean, I have people traveling from Dublin. I have people traveling from the way up in the north of Coleraine and Donegal, and we get people coming over from odd haircuts from England, Germany, France, Spain, and it's mad, you know what I mean? So for a barber shop where we are, it's sometimes, people come in and they go, or they phone up and say, I want a haircut, and you're going, right, no problem. Where is it you're based? And then they go, oh, we're coming over from Germany, you know what I mean? And they're coming over for the weekend, but they want to get a mud haircut. So it actually makes me feel great. But the likes of Facebook and Instagram and all that, I don't really do much Instagram, but the likes of Facebook, back in the 80s, you didn't have that, you know what I mean? So really, Facebook in the last 8 to 10 years has really taken the business further afield, and you're recognized, and, which is great. So,
I was going to state bloody obvious then, but I was going to say, what's your theme of your barbershop? But I think I know what's coming.
Oh, mate, listen, 100% mod, 100% mod barbershop, honestly. But we do traditional barbering, we do traditional barbering, hairdressing. I started off as a hairdresser, and I love doing ladies' haircuts. I mean, I could be doing a ladies' bob, a graduated bob, at 10 o'clock, 10:30, I'd have somebody coming in for, a mod haircut. Next one would be a fade. You know what I mean? So it's a whole versatile shop that we have. You know what I mean? And I love it, and it just keeps you on your toes.
I think I think that's really poignant as well, and it shows resonance with. I don't know if you watched the show last week, and Barry Stevens was on, and he's never left Leicester. He's always wanted to stay in Leicester and be in Leicester and keep the money in there and serve Leicester as a community. And I think what you've just hit, what's important to a lot of us is centre of the community of barbershop as well, isn't it? The fact that, and I said this earlier, it's a destination now for people to go to. That there's so many shops, so many different brands. We're losing them off the high street or from our local areas. But with barbershops, it's always a go-to. You just hit the nail on the head, really, with loyalty, traveling for your brand. Doesn't matter where you are. Yeah. Come because of you, because of your reputation.
Yeah. I think that's the power of social media as well, using it in the proper, correct way as well to promote your brand. And if you do that, like Sam's done, I think Barry's words were being the king of the kingdom, not being the king of the world. And you're obviously doing that kind of philosophy about the area that you're in. Are you near Windsor Park?
Yeah. Windsor, I sport that. I sport anything. So they, it's about 4 miles away from my shop. But I live in a place called Carrickfergus, which is 10 miles away from the shop. So, Windsor Park's not that far away. The home of the Blues.
Have you been guys to the Titanic Memorial, the museum thing there?
Yeah, well, I mean, without going too far, we used to, like I say, we used to do a lot of work for Javier over there. We used to do level 4 qualification. So we were traveling all over Northern. And so, we used to fly into Belfast because there's two airports in Belfast, and depending on where we were coming from and where we were going to. So we used to fly into there, then I'd hire a car, and then we'd have to travel to wherever we were going. And invariably, a lot of the time, I mean, a little story. No, I'm not going to tell you because it's too long-winded, but you can imagine I'm very easily led, and I nearly missed my flight on numerous occasions through Mr. Eric Lander because he's such a tit sometimes, and he got me in a lot of trouble in one particular night. So I won't bring that up. But on certain other times, I had a bit of time to kill, and I went all the way around the dry docks, where the Titanic was built, and Goliath and all the big cranes and everything were there. So, but I actually flew into Belfast and then travelled all the way down to Tipperary. Did some work down.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a fair old journey that was, and then I had a couple of days off there, and in Thurles. Yeah. So I did my first. I went to my first hurling match down there. They were playing Limerick. Yeah. It was really good. It was a great weekend. And then I travelled all the way back to Belfast, taught another lesson, and then flew home. So that was a trip and a half as well. So yeah, I've got some very fond memories.
I'll never forget coming on one of my flights. I think Man City had just won the first Premier League. And I was flying out that Monday morning from Manchester to George Best Airport. And unfortunately, some of the City fans, and it's the same when you ever go to Ireland, if I went to the airport on a Sunday night, the airport was full of Man United fans going back home because they come over to watch the game. And unfortunately, on this particular journey, I'm a Man United fan. On this particular journey, there are a few Man City fans that had obviously stayed for when Aguero scored that last second goal, and they were on celebrating. And they were really ripping. And obviously, I was just listening, and I'm like, it was painful. Let me tell you, that 40-minute flight from Manchester to Bel. And I couldn't help it. As I was saying, I said, congratulations, lads. I'm a Man U fan. And they're all like, and I went, yeah. I said, but you'll know when your team's made it when you've got one of their favourite footballers with a fucking airport named after him now. Fuck off. So it was nice that we went to the George Best Airport and I gave the City fans a bit of steak. But yeah, it's an amazing city, and you sound like you've got an amazing business there, mate. If anybody wants to have a follow on Sam, have a look at his Facebook and stuff. I think the details might be coming up on your screen right now, but it's Sam Arthur over in Belfast. There, you can have a look and look at some of the amazing work he does. Sam, it's been a pleasure to have you on Barbers Arms as one of our local heroes, proper hero out there in Ireland. Keep doing the good work. Keep the faith, mate, while we're in lockdown. I know you guys are very tough over in Ireland, but keep your strength, pal. You're a great man, and I wish you all the best for the future.
Problem. Sam, it's been a pleasure.
Speak to you soon.
Just before you go, have you had any word? Have you had any inside word when you're getting back, or are you same as us? Are they treating us like mushrooms?
Well, see, to be honest, over here, the executive over here, all they're talking about is Brexit at the minute. They're not even talking about the pandemic or anything. They're just talking about Brexit. But the thought of it is going to be like May time.
Shit.
You know, they're talking about. I know, mate. They're talking about coming back in May. You know, we'll be after Easter anyway and get into May. So that's it. I mean, last year, like everybody else, our business was 14 and a half weeks we were open.
Yeah. Well, I had a conversation last night. I mean, if this goes to the end of March, I think we've been open 5 months for just under 5 months worth of in 12 months. Now that can't go on, can it?
Yeah.
You know, it's getting pretty desperate, really, and you know, we're feeling your pain. So hopefully, as soon as we know any different, we'll be in touch. And it's been a pleasure to have you on. I know it's taken a few weeks to wangle our schedules to get you on time. So thank you very much for coming on, giving us your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thanks, guy. Cheers, John.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Coming in to join us there from Ireland. Well, it's been a busy night again, Gaz. It just flows back. It's like nearly 9:30. It's getting ready for closing time here on the Arms. But again, what a great night. Episode 41, Mark Woolley, the CEO of Electric Hair Salons and Electric Products, but also as well Sam Arthur, one of our local heroes. Great night. I've enjoyed that, mate.
Yeah, I mean, you know, goes without saying, we know Mark very well, and he's a great guest, great ambassador for the industry. But also, you know, Sam, people like Sam absolutely love getting out there, out to different places. Love Northern Ireland, especially Belfast. I think it's an absolutely fantastic place. The crack and getting out and having a beer, there's nowhere almost like it. You know, it's a lovely people. I'd just like to give a big shout out to Malachi Weatherall as well, who's Northern Irish contingent out there, Johnny King, and obviously Gary and Mary, and everybody else who we know and we've worked with out in Northern Ireland as well. It's a pleasure to get out there when we can. Do you know what? I really, really miss that side of things. You know, we were talking last night, you know, to a few people, networking and just talking, and you know, we were talking about where's education going to go, and you know, it's getting online and everything else. And we've worked really hard this week to keep all our apprentices engaged online and everything else. But there's nothing like meeting up, you know, networking, shaking somebody's hand, giving them a kiss, you know, ladies wise, and you know, and just having the crack and having a beer with them after, whether it be a show or, you know, a training session or whatever. But I think it's a big part of our lives when you travel and you meet people. And outside, it's all right having Zoom meetings and you know, we do this virtually and everything. But, you know, if we were in the pub, there wouldn't be just us two, would there? You know, people would be shouting at the bar, we'd be having the crack, somebody be taking the piss, somebody be singing to themselves in the corner. You know, it's just that.
I said to you earlier, when I was on the global call on Wednesday, you know, I see those guys quite a lot in normal times, maybe 2 or 3 times a year at different meetings, maybe in Chicago. And I think, you know, one thing I came away, and I was driving to this afternoon, and I was just thinking to myself, wow, I used to take it for granted when I'd see Rahul from Mexico and Ike from Europe and, you know, some of the American guys, Kevin from Malaysia. I used to take it for granted. So sometimes I'd like to be one of them, you know, I'm like, when I've had enough, I'll go to bed. We go out for a meal and I'd be you know, one night I'd stay up and have a drink, but something nice, so busy the day after, I'd like be backing out, get back to the hotel, it'd be like maybe one beer, and then I'd be in bed. And now you think, God, I wish I were there because I'd stay up a bit longer to see them all. Because I think for the 20-year career I've had with Wahl, I've probably took some of the times when you've travelled a lot for granted and think, you know, I'm not here to go out and booze and things like that. I'm here to work. So I've gone out for a meal with everybody. I'm one of these, I don't know about everybody else, but I love having a beer straight after work. So we used to come back from the head office back to the hotel. We used to stay in the hotel. I think it was called Country Inn, the Candlelight, and it's near the offices. And I'd be one that I'd get out the minivan, and I'd say to everybody, "Come, go straight for a beer." So I'd have Louis there from Canada, and I'd have Kevin, and we're going to back. And I'd have 3 or 4 beers before we went out for something sweet. That was my favourite time. You'd go straight for a beer after work. Well, I'm looking forward to those times coming back.
Well, you know me, I nobody ever had to, especially I'm not one of these that goes and sits in the hotel room. You know, I like get out and it was funny about we were talking about drinks and you know whatever's local food wise and drink wise. I'll always you have a different view of wherever you are in the world. If you say, what's the local dish or what's the local drink, or I'll always drink local. You know, I'll do IPA all over the world. Probably drunk. I could do a world tour on IPA really, but I think even if I had to go down, I cannot sit in my hotel room on my own. If I'm traveling away, I can't do that. So even if I'm sitting on my own reading the paper, you know, speak to Rach or whatever it is, and then I need to. I'll just sit. I like North America because you can sit at the bar, can't you? And, and if there's nobody else in there who you know, or you always end up making a conversation. And Brian always made me laugh. He says you always attract the most weirdest people who want to talk to you. He says you've got one of those faces that just want to just lay out all their problems on me. The stuff.
Thing is, if you're in North America as well, as soon as you start talking in your English accent, and I turn it on a bit, the Yorkshireisms comes out of me, and I'll speak proper English. People just want to talk to you anyway. Where are you from? Australia? What? But no, missed a bit of that. So great night tonight. We've got some great guests lined up later on in as we go towards the back end of February and into March. We've got some internationals coming back on. Hopefully, like we said, we're going to get people who are working back in their businesses around the world as well. So hopefully we can see a bit of normality into some shops that are cutting hair now. I know we've got some American guests on. One of my colleagues over in Canada, in Ontario, they're locked down, same as we are. I think there's some parts of Nova Scotia, Halifax that are open now. But I think pretty much globally there's still like a lockdown happening. But looking at the rates of vaccinations, looking at the plan, I know what Sam's just said, but I've always said as well, I don't think that close-up services are going to be available till April. And I don't know what part of April, but if I was going to manage my own expectations for you guys, I would say mid to back end of April. So we've got to keep positive, got to keep doing what you've got to do, keep in tune with what's happening on Hairdressers Council and things like that. We've just got to make sure that we're all pulling in the same direction, that you're doing the right things. Talking of that, there's every week on Barbers Arms, every week through the week, if the Sky Sports is on and it's Monday night football, Tuesday night football, last night, Barnsley played Chelsea in the FA Cup, and, I looked at a few haircuts again, still fresh haircuts. So next week, we've got a bit of a topic. We're going to fetch people in who have actually been done some people's haircuts in lockdown, and they feel that there's a grey area that they want to tell their story about. So that's going to come up next week on the show. So that should be interesting. So don't forget to get your questions in. Don't forget to tune in. We've got Tom Baxter coming on the show next Friday. And then after that, week after, we've got some internationals coming on. So that's going to be really, really good guys coming up in the next few weeks.
Yeah, perfect. I'd just like to say thank you for everybody who's supported the show all around the world. 92,000 views last week. So again, we're averaging 90 to 100,000 views every week, which is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. Please share and like the show as much as you possibly can. You know all our details going forward. If you want to drop us a line on anything to do with the show, any guests that you want to see on there, or any topics that you want covered, anything current, historically, whatever you want, please let us know. We've gone over by about 6 minutes, I think, 5 or 6 minutes. It's our normal time, but it's been an absolutely tremendous show. Thank you for my host, my partner in crime, Mr. Simon Shaw of Wahl. I don't think we've drunk as much tonight, really, but we might stay on for a quick and after.
I got a few messages actually saying, one of my pals who's not an hairdresser or barber says, "You're getting pissed tonight on Barbers' Arms." And I went, "When last episode did you watch?" She went, "Oh, about 8-9 weeks ago. I'm going to watch it tonight." I said, "I don't think we get drunk anymore. I think the early shows that we had, there were a few times where we couldn't get his word, where you in particular couldn't get his words out towards the end of the show. But I think the guests now, there's so much to talk about. The show's got a different view to it in terms, and we're trying to fetch to you the best interviewing techniques to get the best out of our guests. So hopefully we're asking the questions that you guys would like to ask these guys. And I know, some of our top fans that watch every week, and Gaz mentioned a few earlier, I always look at your comments after the show as well and read through them. And I appreciate everything. And sometimes I know we don't get back to people, but I really appreciate all your comments and all your followings. And it's good. It makes you feel good when you look back at everybody who's watching. It's good.
I do try my best. I try to keep meeting the Stoke end up. I think I've done 3 bottles of Newcastle Brown and part way down my whiskey. But I'm not feeling the love with you on the old shots situation at the moment.
I've had 3 cans of Stella.
Are you just coming out of your illness? Are you just getting in there nice and slow?
I've got to keep myself fit for Valentine's weekend. Yeah, do you know what? I have to say, even like yesterday, I went back off it a little bit. I've just had a cold, which I had for about 3 or 4 years. Just had a general old-fashioned flu bug, which has just knocked me a bit sick for maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, you haven't been down our house, have you? I think landlady, the barmaid's just coming down with a bit of something. You haven't been nipping down up into Stoke, have you? Just a bit of
I haven't, unfortunately. I'd love to, but I'd love to come and see you all, but obviously until we can get to do that. But no, I think as soon as I walked into Marks and Spencer tonight, I had my mask on and everything. I know, I coughing in the queue, and the queue just parted. It's the best way to get a space around you. There's no point people breathing behind you. Oh, you're going to... I was like, why, Bert?
Do you know what? I know we've got to get off. Time's ticking on, but do you know what? From a sociable point of view, I mean, how mad is it now? I go for a walk every day with the dog. Take my best mate with me. It's been cold and it's -6 today again. Take the dog with me, and I'm in a field in the middle of nowhere. Right, we're not wearing masks, granted, but I'm with the dog. I'm walking. Daughter's with me, or whoever's with us. I might be on my own. We're in a field, an empty field, and people are coming towards you, and they give you like a 6-foot wide berth coming away. And I'm like, are you for real, that kind of thing? And it's got to that stage now. People, can you ever imagine going into a crowded room now, shaking somebody's hand or kissing somebody, that you're known for it? I mean, talking to Jackie, it's her birthday on Monday, the producer's birthday. Every time I see it, big hug, big kiss. You can't imagine ever doing that ever again at the moment, can you? Because there's nothing more embarrassing than when you go in for a kiss and somebody rears back, isn't they?
You should be used to that. I think I've been developing some ears behind me apparently on this Zoom. You can see it. Say what that is. There's a love art behind me, a big brown love art behind me, and you can see the shape of the love art. So they're not ears. It's Valentine's weekend, so we've got the big wooden love art behind me that's keeps peering through.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything till the end of the show, but it's like you've got an ears beanie hat on.
Well, do you know what? If you look back at some of the early shows, I think there were one night where I got some kind of like white hat on that were coming out. Anyway, all part of the show, all part of what we're trying to do. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed episode 41 of Barbers Arms. We'll be back next Friday night, keeping it real. Hopefully, sharing a bit of news, bit of knowledge, fetching you the best guests in the industry, not only from the UK. If you just look at some of the guests that we've had on in the last few weeks, this show's taking a different turn as well in terms of some of the calibre of people that's coming in. And the next few weeks aren't going to be any different. Whether it be a top celebrity guest coming on or the most current news to interview some of the barbers that are in the news as well. You're going to hear it all and watch it all here live on Barbers Arms, either on the Friday night at 8 o'clock or in the week afterwards. Thanks for all your thousands that watch in the week. We really appreciate it. Have a great weekend. I hope there's plenty of love in the air. I got one of the most popular phrases from Barnsley is roses are red, violets are blue. Here's my knife, get in the van. So I'm going to leave you with that. Have a nice Valentine's weekend. And we'll see you all next Friday. Adios.
It's lots of love from me and it's lots of love from him. See you later. See you next week.